Alright, I'd like to welcome everybody today to our second Media Club, the nightly news media club here at Central Penn College podcast. We are so very pleased to have Coach Dave Baker for the men's basketball team getting ready to go to the tournament here next week. And we're going to ask him today a few questions about the tournament coming up and getting everyone excited for supporting our Knights coming up for the first game that will be next Thursday, March the 3rd at 2 o'clock. Coach Baker, it's certainly a pleasure to have you here on the podcast today.
Well, it's my pleasure, guys. This is great. It's great for the school, and it's certainly great for the basketball program. So thanks for having me.
And certainly one of the things that we look forward to for next season, I don't want to give any spoilers out, but we are definitely behind the scenes talking about ways we can do live broadcasts of home games coming up next year. I know that was something we were trying to do this year, but the Media Club's still in its infancy, so that's one of the things hopefully we can look forward to for next year. Coach Baker, there was a few things that I wanted to ask you, and we're also joined here by student reporter and podcast committee member Norm Geary. You can say hello there, Norm.
Hello.
So Norm's going to come on here in just a few minutes, but I first wanted to talk to Coach Baker about some specific things as far as how the season's gone so far and what his outlook is for the tournament. Well, let's start here. For the first time in Central Penn Knights basketball history, you played 6 Division I schools. How many, let's just say in the past, what was the average number of Division I schools maybe last year? How many Division I schools did you play last year?
I took the program over 6. This is my 6th season. So my second year we played 1, and that was VMI. They gave us the first opportunity to go play a Division I school. And then the second year it went up to 3, and we played 3 each year up until last year where we played 4, and this year we played 6.
And one of the interesting things, and so let's just, for those of you who may not be as knowledgeable about the schedule and the history of this season, what was the final record against Division I opponents?
Oh, we've never beaten a Division I opponent. And there's a couple reasons for that. One is, when you look at the facilities master plan, we're walking into 10,000-seat arenas. And that's just the basketball arena. That doesn't include the football field and the fitness center and different things like that. So, but the value that playing Division I schools brings to us is twofold. One, in the immediate impact is kind of humbling some of my guys who think they're really, really good, and then we step out onto a court with guys that we know are not advancing to the NBA or to the European leagues, that they are, achieving their degree and playing basketball at that level. So it's helpful with that. It kind of gives us a more realistic approach in view of what we are as a team. The second part is it's probably been one of the most significant things that we've done that has allowed us to recruit some of the kids that we have. No one in the state or no one in our conference plays as many Division I schools as we do. And you can't go to Shippensburg, they don't play Division I schools. Clarion doesn't play Division I schools. So when a student is looking at, where am I going to play, where do I want to play, and then they look at the level of competition we play, that has been a deciding factor for some of our kids.
I'm really glad that you brought that up, because for many sports fans out there, it might be difficult for them to understand the value of walking into a game with, probably to put it nicely, extremely stacked odds as far as the ability to achieve a victory. But I really love how you pointed out right there that it's not just about the wins and losses with these Division I schools. It's just about the opportunities to play in some of these larger arenas, to play with people who are, a similar skill level and maybe even a bit more, as a way to challenge the players. So I guess my next question would be, we understand this in theory. How did it operate this year? Were there some of the games that you played against the D1 opponents where even though you weren't quite the winner on the scoreboard, that you took away much more positives than negatives? And can you point back to one of those specific games?
Yeah, I think the novice always mistakes wins and losses with positive and negatives. There have been games where we've won where it has been a miserable experience based on what has occurred in that game. So it's not the winning aspect is the small positive that comes out of it, but there were so many other negative things that occurred along the way. For us, to step outside of basketball, some of my seasoned veterans like a Tyree Tucker who has played against 15 Division I schools versus John Starks, who's first year here in our program this year, or Johnny Rhodes, to watch those kids walk into arena with their cell phones out. I mean, it's also about creating lifelong memories. It's stories that they can tell their grandkids, like, hey, yeah, I played on that court, because the schools we play, they usually use us as a preparation for a game against Ohio State or a game against Duke or a game against North Carolina. Radford beat Georgetown this year. So it is what it is, but the positives always far outweigh the negatives.
And I certainly don't want to start off this podcast talking about anything negative. As a matter of fact, we are the number 2 seed in the USCAA tournament that begins next Thursday on March the 3rd, at least for us, and I believe for some other teams it begins on Wednesday. What is your comment on where your seeding was? Is that higher or lower than you thought that you would be? I mean, I guess it's not, it's difficult to project yourself as a 1 seed, but are you pleased with the 2 seed?
I am pleased with the 2 seed. We had been consistently number 2 in the country most of the season. We did lose to Berkeley, who's the number 1 ranked team, and probably one of the most interesting games that I've been involved with, where at halftime we're up 17 points and we end up losing the game by 16. So it was an emotional swing in both halves for both teams. So hopefully we'll get an opportunity to get a rematch here in this tournament. But we have a very tough draw. We're in a very tough side of the bracket, and we just have to take, not to be cliche, but we just have to take one moment at a time, one game at a time.
And as anybody who knows basketball, certainly tournament-wise, anything can happen. I mean, you could walk in and play 10-seeded Central Maine Community College and have them, come to play and maybe come out flat, or vice versa. You can, on any given day, you have that opportunity to maybe put your game together and come to the one, bring it to the 1 seed. So
yeah, that's a great point, because our conference is a national conference, so it's not like we can go down the road to see Central Maine play. So when schools make the tournament, you look at Johnson and Wales and Warren Wilson, 2 teams from North Carolina. They are very difficult to scout, and you just never know how good they're going to be. And that's troubling. As a coach, sometimes that's troubling.
Well, certainly. The last question I have, and I'm going to turn it over to Norm. Talk about some of the players on the team this year. Obviously, and in my opinion, you're very fortunate that you've got some high-quality junior and senior leadership on the team. Would you like to talk about what some of your juniors and seniors have meant to some of your younger players, like a John Starks, this season specifically?
Sure. So Tyree Tucker. Let me back up, because this I think it's important to this part of the conversation. So when we first took over the program and wanted to build Central Penn basketball to where it is today, the program had struggled, and we thought it was important to recruit one kid to build the first program around, and our very first recruit was a young man by the name of Montez Lacey. And Montez, making a commitment here in his very first year as a freshman, was a second-team All-American, and he averaged 21 points for us. But we knew the next year, if Montez was still averaging 21 points a game for us, we were probably still going to be on the outside looking in, because we were bringing other talented players in. So we asked him to change his style of game. So I leap forward to today, where Tyree Tucker last year has been a starter since he's been here, but we asked him to make some modifications to his game to be less of a perimeter player and more of a physical presence inside. Him doing that allowed us to bring in a John Starks, allowed us to bring in a Johnny Rhodes, because we weren't going to be log jammed at that position. So our history of having players make sacrifices for the greater good, and potentially hurt their individual stats, has been one of the stalwarts trademarks of our program to get kids like that. So Tyree's willingness to do that hopefully will also allow him to be recognized nationally and be an All-American. We're hopeful, bringing in Deron Johnson, who's a junior, but he's graduating this year, so this is his last season with us. He has been a great role player for us. He's been one of those guys that has done whatever we've asked him to do with no complaint, and that could be 25 minutes one game and 4 minutes the next game. So, that kind of selflessness also projects well on our younger players to get them to understand what it is to be successful here at Central Penn.
How much of that do you think comes from your tutelage of these individuals, especially over a few years? I mean, Tyree's been here. This is his third season playing, correct? Have you seen a progression in maturity, maybe directly or indirectly related from your leadership?
Look, I think that's easy to say yes. I think there's a trust factor that needs to be involved, that they need to believe in what my staff and I are selling, and we need to believe that they're able to carry out the plan that we have in place. So, we've been very fortunate the last 4 seasons. We had a Devon Dorsey that we could always count on for 24 points and 15 rebounds a game. I mean, we knew that was going to happen. We didn't know what this season was going to be like without having that person, but everyone has kind of rallied around our pressure package and what we do as a team, and our depth has really helped us out.
Very wonderful insight there from Coach Baker about the upcoming USCAA tournament. It's going to start Wednesday on the 2nd, but our first game at Central Penn, we're going to be playing 2 o'clock on Thursday the 3rd against the winner of Penn State Fayette and Central Maine Community College. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Media Club member Norm Geary, and he's got some questions for Dean Baker sort of off the court. So I'm going to turn it over to him, and then I'll be back with you at the end of the show.
Coach Baker, I want to say thank you for giving the Central Penn Media Club and the student body of Central Penn College the opportunity to have a live podcast with you. Since we are going to continue with the theme of being successful and continue with carrying out the plans that you have set in place for the team, I just wanted to start off by asking, what is a keystone turning point to your successful season?
Oh, that's a tough one, because we lost our very first game to Delhi, and my coaches and I, when we talked after that game, we weren't sure we were going to win 10 games this year. We were very concerned. Making the tournament wasn't even at that point wasn't even an option, and so we went back to some of our old coaching roots. I think we had, as I mentioned him before, Dorsey. I think we had some Dorsey blues, like what were we going to do? And we really just recommitted to going back to a style that I have always felt comfortable with in my career, and that's run and press, playing a lot of guys. So we have 11 guys at least in our rotation, and just kind of getting back to the old theory of wearing other teams out. So the first game we gave up over 100 points, and we were very disappointed with that defensively. And we were eager to get back in, and we had to make an immediate shift after that first game. And I think that really we made some tweaks to our lineup, and I think that helped out as well.
That's very awesome. I'm going to target in on 3 points that you made that I liked. Run and press, 11 guys in a rotation, and wear teams out. there's a transition you have to have in order to be successful in doing that. Which leads me to my next question. As a dean of students, can you tie in athletics and academics into your core of work ethic for the team?
It has to be. Without the academic piece, there is no athletic piece. And again, when we first took over the program, and I was coaching across the river at Harrisburg Community College, Central Penn's team always had a great deal of transition between terms because students weren't able to achieve the academic level that they needed to. So the team was always very different first term and second term. We have set some standards for our guys. We've raised the level of expectation. Our grade point average as a team has jumped from a 2.1 to a 2.7 over the last 3 years. That doesn't necessarily always equate to success, but what it does equate to is guys buying into what's important. And as a staff, and for someone who's coached basketball for 20 years, I think I have a pretty good understanding that I'm never going to coach an NBA player. I would be very fortunate to coach an NBA player. I haven't had one come through the door yet, whether it be here at St. Bonaventure or Clarion or other places that I've coached. So creating better men, creating better students, creating better professionals is the priority. Basketball gets to be the icing on the cake, if you will. So I have some guys on the team who are outstanding fathers. And I'd like to think that our philosophy and how we work with our student athletes and our basketball players have helped those young men become better fathers.
And Coach Baker, that's an awesome point because that leads to another question, which is being a family man and you being a father. Describe the emotional aspect of coaching.
It's tough. It's tough. It's a tough balance between, I have a very supportive wife who was the women's basketball coach here. She played college basketball. She went to East. She still has some records over at Central Dauphin East. So I'm blessed to be involved in an athletic family and having a beautiful wife who is also supportive of what I do. The difficulty is, you get to a point of quality of life. Scouting, recruiting, coaching takes a lot of time, and at some point you have to ask yourself, what trade-off are you going to make to keep your quality of life? Because I have a 19-year-old who's at Temple and a 17-year-old who's a junior at Redland and a 5-year-old who's running around the house. So striking that good balance of, because if you falter at one, you're going to falter at both, I believe. If I sacrifice my family for basketball, ultimately I'm going to be unhappy as a basketball coach. And if I sacrifice basketball for my family, I shouldn't be the basketball coach. So finding that balance is very important.
And that is awesome because in order to be successful with your basketball and with being the dean of the campus, you have to have a balance, which leads me to my last and final question. Is there something you would like to share with non-basketball students or just students at Central Penn College?
Well, I think there's opportunities for our student body to be successful. I think sometimes knowing, having a previous career running alternative education programs, not just in the state of Pennsylvania but in various states, recognizing where a lot of our students, the struggles that they may have coming to college, leaving home. My 19-year-old's at Temple. She struggles with some things being away from home. I think Central Penn and the size of the school and the caringness of the staff and faculty and can, again, just really help. It's more than just getting A's in classes. It's about, a holistic approach to being caring and sharing.
Yes, sir. And we're very proud of you, especially when we heard about your 100th win and the many accolades and achievements that you've had over the years. And I just want to say again, thank you. And I'm talking in behalf of the Central Penn Media Club and also the student body of Central Penn. And we're very proud of you, Coach Dean Baker.
Thank you. Media Club rocks.
Well, we're certainly happy to have you. Just a couple of final notes that I wanted to put out there, and then I'm going to send you off with one final question. Just for anybody who is interested on campus, Thursday's game, there will be a viewing party in the underground. Thursday, March the 3rd at 2 o'clock. They're going to be playing, and by they I mean the Central Penn Knights men's basketball team will be playing the winner of Penn State Fayette or Central Maine Community College, the 7 and 10 seeds. Should they win, they'll advance to Friday's game at 3 o'clock, with the championship game being Saturday at 3:15. For those of you not on campus, as far as I know, there will be viewing parties for all Central Penn games. But for those of you not on campus, for those of you who maybe would like to watch it online, you can go to uscaabasketball.prestosports.com. They have a tab where you can watch all of the games live. So certainly get out and at least do your very best to support the Central Penn Knights basketball team and watch the game. The other thing that I wanted to say is you can keep up with all of the action on Twitter. If you follow, certainly Go CPC Knights is the Twitter feed for our sports teams, and also at USCAA on Twitter, and certainly the Media Club will be following up with this story as it unfolds. First of all, Coach Baker, I just wanted to thank you very much. You've been a huge supporter of what we're trying to do here with the Media Club, and we certainly would love, maybe after the season's over, to have you back and maybe, a preview of next season, because as I'm sure you can attest, this season's never really over. Once you move from the tournament, you're going to move into recruiting and other phases. Can you just end with us here? And certainly this is not at all what you have on your plate right now. You have winning 3 games on your plate. But what is the transition like after the season? And how does the team, how is this a 365-day-a-year venture? Because I'm not quite sure some of our listeners understand that.
Well, this is a big recruiting time for us right now. We're reaching out to a handful of students that we'd like to have be part of our program. One of the advantages we have, again, if you go back to the schedule we play, is we've kind of put ourselves in the position where student athletes are recruiting us. They're reaching out to us. I want to come play for you. I want to play against these teams. I want to continue the tradition. So, we feel very fortunate for that. So recruiting is the big piece, and then we'll move into our summer program where we'll do workouts or reach out in the community and do some camps. We're hoping to have our first Central Penn Night basketball camp here on campus this summer, as well as some of our other athletic programs will be wanting to have camps here. And then it's just moving in to keep the vision of athletics as I've transitioned into the athletic director's duty role as well. How do athletics impact the rest of our campus? And sometimes, and that's I think that's what the beauty of what we're doing today is. People think that if you can't dribble or can't throw or can't hit a baseball or can't hit a volleyball, then you can't participate in athletics. So my dream is to have the Media Club. I imagine, what if we allowed students to have the opportunity to broadcast games and announce and work on their announcing skills and make a career of that, and live stream games, and what that could do not just for the Media Club's footprint, but overall footprint of Central Penn College beyond the boundaries of Summerdale, because now everybody has access to it. You can some of our online students from California can tap into a live stream broadcast the game being announced by whomever. So it's really, really exciting.
You're speaking to somebody here who my first entrance into radio was calling a Slippery Rock men's baseball game that was broadcast internationally on the internet, and was such a wonderful opportunity, and one of the things that's always gotten me interested in radio. So I fully understand your perspective on the ability for not only parents, not only students, but certainly people that are outside the reach of Summerdale to get more involved with the team. Well, Coach Baker, I would certainly love, I made a note here about the Knights basketball camp coming up this summer. Would love to have you back before that, and we can do a little bit of promotion for that and make sure that we get the word out there about anything that maybe people on campus might be able to do to help you out with that. So
Great, and hopefully we'll be able to promote that as national champs.
Thank you.
that is certainly what we hope to do. Just one final reminder. Thursday, March 3rd, there's a viewing party in the Underground here at Summerdale at 2 o'clock. We're going to support the Central Penn Knights men's basketball team. We've had Coach Baker here and Media Club member Norman Geary talking about the upcoming USCAA tournament. Remember, you can go to uscaabasketball.prestosports.com to watch the game in the privacy of your own home, or certainly follow Go CPC Knights on Twitter, the Media Club on Twitter, or at USCAA on Twitter to keep up with everything going on in the tournament. Coach Baker, thank you so much for joining us here today, and from the bottom of all of our hearts, from the Media Club and all of Central Penn alumni, faculty, staff, and students, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.